Hey, hey, welcome. We're starting just a couple minutes early because I already see people online waiting and given the opportunity that this is mostly going to be a PowerPoint presentation. I thought I'd come on early to quickly say hello and introduce myself. I see different names of people who registered, who are keeping their obligations and promise to show up, and some friends, some pals. That's really great. Well, I'm just pretty much ready to begin here. So why don't I start off just with a quick introduction to what we're going to be doing, what's it all about. Oh, I wish I could show you outside. We just had this minor snowstorm, stopped for the moment, but it's pretty amazing. Just blanketed white. If I move the PC and the camera, we'll just lose it. So just have to trust me on it. Maybe I can post a picture later. It's very scenic, though, very nice, and very seasonal. So it is that time of year viewing it. If you're on live right now, we're approaching the end of the year. And for the people who are watching the replay, you're probably watching this at some point at the beginning of the new year. So we have a common practice in our society and around the world where people love to set goals and have New Year resolutions. And that's kind of what it's all about. But we also know that people tend to break the resolutions or they get demotivated, get distracted, and before you know it, January, February, March passes, and all the great ideas you had kind of fell to the wayside, and you're worried about how the rest of the year is going to turn out. I mean, didn't last year go by pretty quick? It did, didn't it? Yeah, it did. And so did the previous past years, if not the decade, is just kind of flying by. Now, I've been doing this for a while. My name is Mike Rich, as I'm known in the motivation world. Uh, my claim to fame is twofold. I started the original Success Club back in the 90s in Chicago, and quickly chapters spread across the city, and we have them in Manhattan and out in California and literally around the world. In 2010, I lived in China, we had Shanghai and the Philippines, and spread to India. So it's really quite amazing. There are a lot of different groups out there calling themselves success clubs, and it's all good because we're just encouraged the concept of having a support group that comes together to plan goals for the new year and they meet it on a monthly basis, whatever they can, either online or in person. It's nice when you can do it as a group, whether it's in a library or at a public meeting place or even a coffee shop. And you share each other's goals because it's a tight knit group. You can trust each other on it. And because it's sort of a support network, we can help each other and encourage each other and perhaps even come up with some ideas or connect people and resources. And that kind of makes it all the more easier and better. And it's a lot of fun, right? And over the years, we've seen a lot of great progress and achievements that have been made by our members. And that's what makes it all fun. Now, I, of course, have moved on to do other types of things. I have entrepreneurial types of organizations within the Chamber of Commerce, all kinds of good things among other projects that I do as a serial entrepreneur. I love my serial entrepreneurism. But I always have a great consideration about doing New Year's success. And I'll post some links later. So if you'd like to see me back in the 90s webinars, and we went online at that period of time, but we do have an actual real honest to God video presentation of me success and some of the concepts I'll talk about today. And Mark Hodges was a videographer, a club leader, he had his own club, and just all great stuff. We're still pals, and he probably will join us later on the webinar because he's got the link invite. So we're about ready to go here, but I did want to pop on and say hello and to relate the idea of goal getting versus goal setting. There is an important distinction to be made, which we'll be talking more about. But it's all in good fun. We do want you to have a clear idea what your goals are and to have the best year ever, if you're possible for you, by being really clear on your goals and having a stage-by-step system that helps you get your goals versus just goal setting, which is the traditional element. We'll talk about all that. Uh, anyway, through the Apollo webinars, we're able to present to you around the world. We're launching a new company in the new year called webinarseminars.com and seminar tickets, depending if we get the the sponsorship, investment in that regard. But otherwise, I have a lot of interesting things happening, and I hope you do as well. In addition to contributing to your community and giving back as you can, which is all the element and markings of a truly successful person, and living a whole, well-rounded, healthy life, right? Okay, so I see a few people making a couple of comments. I think we're ready to go. It's great to see you on, and I'll be looking in the comment section, but at the same time I'm presenting. So uh, excuse me if I don't have the time to actually engage while I'm presenting. However, I'd love to get back to you. So if you wanted to email me, Mike at newyearsuccess.com is one way to reach me. And you can also post comments, or if you'd like to leave your email, if you have a particular question I can help research for you or get back to you on. I can connect you to coaches and a lot of free resources that will be found on newyearsuccess.com. All right. Well, so is everybody ready? I see people are still coming on board, which is great. Hello, welcome. Thank you. Oh, we got people from all over the place. Really? Wow. Tibet. Great. Got internet connection. Sorry. But I was through there, and I was in one really remote area. And it was cool to see this guy out in the area. I think, you know, in China, you have some limitations on some of the Western type social media apps, but it looked like he was tweeting away. And so, yeah, great to see you and all the. Uh, I know people in India. Yeah, you had last month was your New Year. Happy Diwali, right? You've got a couple of New Years that are coming up. Chinese New Year, Rosh Hashanah, and other holidays and traditions being celebrated around the year. Well, that's just fantastic. So, Happy New Year to everyone, whether it's past or it's happening or about to come up. This is what it's all about. This particular element, I'm doing a particular New Year's success webinar into the new year, and we'll have some guest speakers come on, hangouts, and some are recognizable figures, well-known names, celebrity types you could say. And I guess just a quick plug-in for myself was probably the other claim to fame that I passed over on mentioning. But I also have worked for a number of major motivation speakers over the years. Uh, the Success Club was my conduit gateway. However, I had hosted a talk show in San Francisco called New You, and one big element was I always encourage people to have partners and success buddies, people who support them in their success, and that was sort of the encouragement for me to start my own Success Club, and that led me to meeting a lot of these motivation speakers and actually working for some of them. All right, so let's begin our presentation. And if anybody has any other questions or ideas, put them in the chat box. Please email me, mike@newyearsuccess.com. And let's get going. I want to make this an annual tradition. This is something where we really are excited to present to you, because I really, just like anybody else who's caring and concerned about where things are, just want to wish you the best, and I hope that you have a really great year. And this is a building block for you to achieve all your goals in regards to what's important to you. And I can't emphasize that enough. And that way, welcome to the webinar, and thank you for tuning in. All right, well, let's begin. All right. Okay. All right, that was a little introduction. Go getting. Why? Okay, this is where we're going to really go now. Let's make it happen. And this is our official introduction to Goal Getting. Welcome. I'm your host, Mike Rich, and we're going to have a great time today having a little bit of a sort of overview. All right. That's right. I like that. It's a little intro type thing to goal getting. Why goal getting versus goal setting? And I'm your host presenter, Mike Rich, welcoming you. Happy holidays to all and everyone. Thank you for tuning in. And I look forward to connecting with you as the days come ahead and supporting you on your goals. Your goals. So, what's a goal anyway? Just need to be clear because people think about goals as playing soccer or hockey. And according to the dictionary, goal is the end towards which effort is directed, right? You're making some effort towards some end, some achievement. I also want to make the distinction talking about what is success. And I think one of the best definitions that I heard is just basically, success is a progressive realization, where you're moving towards your goals, where you're making progress. And Earl Nightingale is credited for defining that. So as long as we're making progress, we're moving forward, we can say we're having some experiencing some level of success. Because it's not only just in the achievement of the goal, it's the journey. It's moving along the way. Also, it's having clarity, and knowing what it is that you want. So goals are dreams, and it's you can have a want and it can be a need, except that this is something that's very specific, and we're going to talk about it because it's all in the details. When you have details with deadlines, you're really right on the way. And of course, you have to have your resources and know how to tap into it. Goal getting is basically a strategy to accomplish a set of outcomes that are going to help you direct your focus. Go in the direction that you're focused on, right? So we're not looking in the back of our past or getting all excited about things that may or may not be right for us or supporting the community that we're in. That our goals are more purpose driven. And the purpose of goals is to give you clarity. So goal getting itself hones in on what you really want to have, to be, or to become. It's going to enhance your life in some capacity, in some way. So the first important thing you need to know about goals is to get some. So take a moment, if you haven't already, thought about your goals for the new year, and to think about what is it you really want to have, what do you want to be or become. I can't emphasize that enough because it could be somebody else's goal that someone's telling you that, hey, you need to stop smoking, and that might be a good goal, or hey, you got to get your life straightened out. But it's got to come from within. It's got to be motivation from what you feel you really want to have. And the desire almost is burning. It can be passionate, but it also comes from knowing that this is what's true for you, it's right, and the timing is right. The timing is now. So in that way, goals help you stretch into new horizons of possibilities and reaching your potential. So there are different types of quality goals, and I do emphasize quality because I think it's important that goals have to help you stretch and reach to what I define as your ideal. What do you define as really being your ideal life? If everything were to be perfect, if you had it exactly the way you wanted it, what does it look like? And we can talk about it on a time horizon. It can be something you can achieve this year in the new year. Some of the steps along the way can be achieved in a few days, a few weeks, months, quarterly. It's important to look in different ranges to know what's realistic and what can be accomplished by tasks, which I describe as my own formula called stage by step, that help you finish up the things that need to happen in order for you to move on and go to the next level of achieving your goals. And of course, for some of us, it's just the must-have it goals. This is what you really have a burning desire for. You really dream of it. You're having great pleasure in achieving those goals as you turn it into reality. I like those type of goals that help support the community, it can be your family and friends, because you're very inclusive. It's good for the whole. That's really an important distinction. So some things are really relevant in having a vision. And of course, we look at the immediate term goals that we can do now today. And what we want to do, of course, is define our goals. So Alan Elkin, Lakin, who's a famous time manager, said, time is life, to waste your time is to waste your life, to manage your time is to manage your life. And we want to be on top of the things. We want to move ahead so that we are on top of our responsibilities. We're taking care of things as we ought to be doing in the best capacity, the best way possible. And that's what it's all about. We want to just not be lost in our dreams and goals or chasing after goals. Wayne Dyer, another author and motivation speaker, particularly in the area of New Age and self-help, would say, goals are important and they're valuable. Some people will get obsessed with certain goals, and all they end up doing is set the next goal, and it becomes a game in their life where they're chasing the next goal. And some goals can be frivolous, so we want to be able to define goals in the way that we know what they're about. And in the same way, learning how to set goals is as important as knowing what the goal should contain or ought to contain. What's important to remember about setting goals is to have a proper frame of mind. I like to use a lot of affirmations and also declarations in talking about frame of mind. So take a moment right now to look at how you frame your goals. Do you fantasize? What do you dream about? You might take a piece of paper right now and you could sketch it out. You could type it out. You could talk it to a recorder like I'm doing. Or you can just simply imagine for a moment. You could meditate, contemplate, take a moment to maybe just imagine. Because I'm sure all of us have our dreams. We have fantasized. We have our hopes and wishes. Just imagine if they came true. Looking at what it is you desire, does it match up to your internal values? Is this what you would be doing in a year if everything could come true? And asking an important question. In the next 5 years are coming on to the change of the decade as we progress in the new century. What kind of person do I want to become? And how am I being actualizing that particular goal? So in the aspect of framing, we have to look at reality. As fantasies can become reality, it will depend on how hard you are working for them, how serious you are and willing to do what's necessary, and to have aim, right? Striking that balance between fantasy and reality, setting a high but realistic goal, and looking at the different methods, which I describe as goal getting, will help you move toward accomplishing your goals. And then to evaluate, right? Stephen Covey talked about, in this 7 Habits of Highly Successful People, executives have an evaluation process, right? Constantly looking at how they're moving forward and achieving and progressing. And evaluation is really important. And that helps us see how well you're doing, if you need to change up, right? If you're going the wrong way, or if you have to adjust. And that's critical, very important. Is the start of things. Everyone talks about goal setting. However, goal getting is the achiever process of completion. And it works. I've got so many case studies and people who've been a part of the Success Club, where I've coached personally, who had this breakthrough strategy. Many people have been goal setters for years, if not decades. As a formula really was the breakthrough element, because it's a different aspect of having clarity that allows the door, you could say, right? That's important. Well, so we want to be on top of things, so we're not wondering, wow, how did that year just slip right by? And a lot of people, I know when they kick off the year, get all excited, and then, unfortunately, maybe kick it off by partying a bit too much New Year's Eve and kick off the new year with a hangover. Or, they think I'm going to get around to it. I'll start my goals next week. And before you know it, it's Valentine's Day, right? Middle of February. Now, it's not to say, you got to kick yourself in the butt, but having sort of clarity in the way that you can get right back on top. It's okay to fall off the horse once in a while, but you got to get right back on. So the applied process is going to help you do the essential activities, and some of them are day to day, and you can miss out a day or get on a bender and a week or month passes by. You're going to know what you need to do, and you're going to work off your values and what's important. So we help people become successful because they know their priorities, they know what needs to get done. They have that kind of clarity, they can just handle it and get things done. And it's actually a bit more than just the doing, it's the way you're doing. So I talk about the way of being. So ideally, goal getting helps you identify what you want to accomplish and find a way to do it as fast and easy so you can enjoy and live it more freely. So it's a lot more about the living in a way that I describe as ultra being. And so the qualities of effective goals using the SMART principle, some of you guys are familiar with the SMART process. You just got to know what the qualities of the goals that you need to have. Anyone can set goals, and some goals obviously, are more valuable than others and important to achieve. Someone could think, well, my goal is to watch some TV tonight and order pizza and drink a six-pack. Well, it's not a quality goal, that really leads you towards your goals. Now, if you're a TV reviewer for a local newspaper getting paid six figures, hey, that could be a sweet gig. But on the other side is if you're looking at just really getting serious about transforming your life and moving ahead, that's probably not the best use of your time, particularly if it's a repeated pattern. So effective goals have three are, that they're realistic, measurable, and that they're reviewed. In other words, like we said, the SMART principle is that they're specific. The goal should be specific enough that we know exactly what we are striving for, that they're measurable, that they have concrete facts about them, that you're able to obtain them and answer very specific questions. When, how, you know you're going to attain the goal. People who are really serious about goal getting, they're action oriented and they can almost tell you on a schedule the date they're going to achieve them. And many people beat the deadline because once they're clear on this, like, oh, I can have that V8, they actually have the V8. Things pop into their life and manifest. And that's what's so cool about it. But action oriented is very important to be aware of what I describe as your TWA, which is your thoughts, your words, and your actions. And again, we talk about our acronyms. It's important to declare positive activities and affirmations that are moving you forward to produce the results that you want. And it all comes into being realistic and relevant and being, just sort of real with what's happening. So you want to challenge yourself in an important area of personal growth. That's an important part of the agenda of setting goals, like to be really clear what you want. The goal has to be realistic. And if you're going to go out and endeavor and go get your goals, put in the time, the resources, the money, involve the people, it has to be realistic, right? You don't want to be chasing off in some fantasy and then really, have it all come tumbling down. So tangible means it's concrete and not vague, knowing exactly what needs to be done. Also, we mustn't forget the goals must also be reviewed, as I mentioned. And that's where success clubs and having a success buddy or a team, support group, a mastermind all comes into being. A goal that's reviewed is a goal that's sort of being honored, right? Because if you're serious about your goals, you're going to evaluate your progress and how you're doing. The success clubs work by meeting once a month. Some of them could meet more because they might have challenge groups or committees, or they might decide to do some activities together, like attend a seminar or workshop. However, just once a month, at least coming back together to see how you did in the last 30 days and having some accountability to someone else, whether it's a coach or a success buddy or a mentor, can support your progress. So it's important to share, the goals that you feel comfortable with friends and family you can trust. These are people who really care about your success. They're going to support you and not put you down because you missed a deadline or, you effed up. Pick out one of these persons who you'll hold in regard, someone you can trust to be accountable in addition to yourself, because you might be reciprocal and work with them on their goals. In the meantime, you're going to remind yourself regularly of those goals. Remind it, right? So you can write down your goals in your calendar and on a mirror, post-it note. You carry it with you. You put it into your calendar online. Anyway, you can work with a coach or ask, for free. You can ask a family or friend member to check on your progress. Of course, they may need to be reminded, so you can automate emails or have a check-in date, where you can call and talk to each other, get together for coffee, whatever it is, or a smoothie, or working out. They might even offer you some additional incentive for accomplishing their goal, which they're going to treat you to that smoothie. You get the idea that you're incentivized, or some rewards that can get combined to it. So some of the steps towards achieving effective goals, it's all about New Year's success, is having and creating, so establishing, right? Having a clear central purpose or goal in life is the starting point of all success. That's a quote from Brian Tracy, well-known motivation speaker and author. And by the way, I have a really great interview with Brian talking about New Year's success. So be sure you email me. If you don't already have that link, it's really wonderful to watch. I'll be presenting it during the New Year's success program because Brian loves to take his vacations during holidays. But a lot of motivation speaking I find interesting don't necessarily work right on the New Year. I think it's the best time. Of course, I treasure being with my family and kids, and if you can be at a resort spot and having a great time, you still can do a webinar, or during the month of January, help a few people out with their goals by doing a newyearseminar.com in that regard. So I find that's my way to kick off, because I have great success in January. Literally, if you can accomplish quite a bit in January, for some, when I look at my objectives, you can make enough money, maybe I wouldn't have to necessarily work for the rest of the year. But of course, that kind of defeats the purpose for achieving some of the other goals that I wish to achieve and have in my life and part of my being. But it does kick off with New Year's success, and I really encourage you to watch the wonderful interview that I did with Brian Tracy at goalsmastery.com. I'll be sharing more of these links later. Don't worry if I'm speaking too fast for you. I apologize. A lot of information to get through. We want to be able to idealize our time here together so that we're making a lot of progress. I want to be considered towards your time. Well, anyway, if you're just tuning in to the webinar, welcome to the New Year webinar, and we offer a course in goal getting. And this is sort of the overview of it, making the distinction of goal getting, or actually achieving your goals, versus just setting them. But it does begin with setting. But kind of like what we often talk about, like, we all have heard, get ready, get set, go! We used that at the beginning of the Success program, printed the first brochure up back in the early 90s. And that was what I told people. So get ready. If you want to have great success, set your goals, but then you got to go get them. And goal getting was what it was all about, because our clubs are all about supporting each other, a motivation support group for winners and achievers, so that we encouraged you to go get your goals. We start with setting goals, but we look at what we want to achieve. And ultimately, what we want to achieve is the ideal life. What is it if you have all your dreams come true? A genie showed up and said, hey, you got X number of wishes. What is it you want? What did you truly, really, really want to have? Poof, you could have it. This would be your ideal, based on your values, your hopes, your fantasies, what you really want to have. So that's what you want to be able to share. And there you go. So that's key. The key to this presentation is being aware that you have what you really want to achieve. So it begins to setting goals. I'm just going to pop over to our thing here to look at our window. It looks like I need to improve things. Thanks for some of the feedback. I will give you um, uh, some things here. I will go back to video here just a second. Let's see what I can do. I don't know if I can balance it off. How's that? Is that better? Okay, good. Thank you. I appreciate that feedback. Okay, so let's see. So I'm working off the PowerPoint. I'm not actually seeing everything I'm presenting on the screen that you see it. But let's see. We want to be able to present to everyone here. All right, so I think we're good in that regard. We are presenting to everyone, so now you can see it a bit better. Good, good, good. I appreciate the feedback. All right, and by the way, this is my first time working in this capacity. I've been on webinars, lots of them, but being the host, the presenter, and the webmaster and mean person at the same time, because the holidays, I'm giving people time off. There's no excuse, but here I am presenting it. So it's just me and you. Talk about intimacy. All right. So as we look at our ideal, you have to imagine what's important for you. You could visualize it. You could do a contemplation, meditation. Some people just feel it. They just know what's right for them. What I want for you to do is to sketch that out again. And the goal activator, which is the workbook that we gave to all Success Club members, and it's still in circulation and used today, going on a couple decades or more, is really what it's about. The first page starts with what is your ideal, what's your vision for your life, and how do you want to contribute in all capacities. And there's the balance wheel aspect. So you got health, your wealth, your love life, your family, your friends, community, your profession, so your career, your business, if you have one, your job or work capacity, investments. There's a wide range of areas that we all participate in. We have different roles, right? As a parent, caregiver, perhaps. You belong to clubs, or you contribute in some way of organizations that you belong to. So we look at our different capacities. How can we maximize our gifts and our talents, and how can we go to the max, right? How do we reach this ideal? So it's important for you to look at what it is that you want in your life to the ideal degree. And once you have that, you begin to sort it out. What's most important. So that's your priorities, and make sure that you really have it balanced, so that one thing is not consuming another area of life at the expense of your health or your relationships. All right, so you want to identify different strategies or objectives to achieve each goal. So now I'm going kind of quick here, so I really encourage you, to take notes where after the webinar, at some point, over the holidays or the weekend, when you have some time, could be an evening or during a break, you expand on this. You say, okay, I'm going to visualize my ideal, and now I'm going to identify my priority goals, and it's going to be the gambit. So you're going to look at a variety of goals in different sectors of your life, right? I'm mentioning from health goals to relationship goals, how to give back to the community and expand your awareness, could be spiritually. You're going to work on those goals and your vision of what that ideal is, you being your best, you living the ideal. And then identifying those priority goals, we're going to look at and identify the best possible strategies for you to achieve those goals. So you can make a list. And this list can be from the immediate, what you can do today to get started, to accomplish at the end of this year, 5 or 10 years down the road, into retirement and beyond, the legacy you're going to leave for future generations. So OPE, we consider other people's experience, if needed money or mastery, can help you, and some may even partner with you or give you the support you need so you can envision and achieve that future in a more concrete manner. All right, so let's select some of the best strategies that we begin with, how you're being. And if you work with us as far as the mentorship program, we have masterminds with different ways that you can get coached. We can refer you to different programs. And all this you can do on your own. But if you need that additional support, we have the tools to help you figure out those strategies. And I'm going to be giving you access to that Goal Activator workbook, which I routinely offer to the public, and it's for free. And we'll also show you how to incorporate your goals into a daily schedule and a weekly routine. Wouldn't you like that? Well, please put a comment into the box. Yeah, would you love it? Yeah, of course you would. Yeah, thank you. And no, you're welcome. It's really great that that there's such enthusiasm on the webinar. And it's all about being positive, right? Because this is for the good of the whole. We want to give back to the community, and that's why I'm doing this. And it's also to help you have positive TWA habits. And TWA is an acronym again for the thoughts, the words, and the way you act. And that's how you show up. I don't know you by any other way. So if you want to be, a true master pilot or co-pilot of your life, how are you? What's the flight of fancy you're taking every day? How is it reflected by your attitude and reflected? Oh, excuse me, a Skype call. This person's trying to check into the webinar. Anyway, excuse me just for a minute there. We also have the aspect of, as we're taking our flight of fancy, it's a reflection of our attitude and that's the altitude. You could say how high we're reaching. So to be aware, as Dr. David Judd would say, of our thoughts that we keep, the words that we use, particularly around children, and the way that we act is really crucial. So that's the key thing. All right, so let's outline some specific plans to accomplish each strategy. So we're doing well time-wise here, so that we're doing really well. We've only been to the webinar about half an hour. So excellent. I want to be considerate of your time. I hope you're getting something out of it. Please let me know if you're doing good, because it's just, again, a conversation of ideas. But this overview is important. So some people who never really thought about goal setting or even the concept of goal getting a better idea of what it's about. So how it works is, this fourth step is to outline specific plans to accomplish each strategy. If you're coming right to this webinar, we'll provide you with some links later for a replay and sort of condensation. It might be I don't know if I shared the PowerPoints exactly, but at least I'll give you a summary. And so again, you can reach me through the comment box, give me your email, or if you'd be so kind, just email me directly, Mike at newyearsuccess.com. It's spelled it New Year or New Year's Success. So Mike at New Year's Success. All right. So once you narrow down your goals, we have looked at different strategies to approach those goals, because there's more than one way. All roads do lead to Rome, but we want to look at the most efficient methods and manner so we have the best experience on our path, our journey moving towards those goals, right? And if you look at from a physics level, as you're moving towards the goal simultaneously is moving towards you, because there's something, the law of attraction factor, not to get too new agey or spiritual out there, but there's something about it that there's synergy that gets created. And if you do it in the right way, it helps speed things up, making sure that you're ready for having that. You want to be responsible. That's why doing these exercises are good. So when you achieve the goal, you're able to be the person who can manage, appreciate, and totally possess or have ownership of the goal. So it doesn't slip out of your fingers or cause other things to go into disarray. So it's a key thing. It's not tricky. It's just basically a matter of having clarity, again, looking at your ideal, and having a balanced approach that's supported through different methods that we talk about. And that's what we present here, to have detailed and specific plans so that you can accomplish each goal and ultimately reach your goal. So once we have a well-formed goal, we look at this in doing statements that can be turned into affirmations. We need to get some directions so that you can follow this particular route. It's the fastest way of moving forward so you can achieve and get this goal. So Tommy Hopkins, which many of you know, just has his focus on sales strategy, like Ziglar talked about sales and goal success. An unwritten want is a wish, a dream. It never happen. The day you put your goal in writing is the day it will become a commitment that will change your life. Are you ready? Come on, put it in the chat box. Are you ready? All right, so I see people coming on to the goal webinar. Thank you for tuning in. This is the New Year webinar. It's also strictly about talking about the distinction of goal setting versus goal getting. I'm your host, Mike Rich. Welcome. And since we're at that point, we really just have about 7 more slides to get through. Let's make the distinction that setting goals is a means of identifying and plotting how you're going to achieve your aims in life. However, by writing down your goals, you are committing yourself to getting and accomplishing them. Therefore, make sure your goals are important to you, that they're your goals. This is what you really want. So if you haven't already done so, take out a piece of paper. Take out your tablet if you need to. Something about it, though, which Brian Tracy and everybody else will tell you. Putting a pen to paper or something about it. Writing it, putting it into the physical, tangible. It just sort of creates an alignment. But any way that you want, write it down right now. What is your burning desire? What's most important to you right now that you'd like to achieve into the new year, the next 12 months, whenever it is that you're going to start to achieve this goal? Okay? It begins, right? Setting the goals means to have, so it's identifying them and beginning to plot, well, is it achievable? Is it realistic? Again, how you begin to commit yourself to getting the goal. And that's what it's all about, getting the goals. And that's what it's all about. That's what makes the distinction between setting goals, which is being actually getting them. So motivation is a key thing here. Okay? So as you're motivated, you're writing down those goals now. If you haven't already done it, by coming up with an idea, you're thinking about how you can go about accomplishing them, please. I'm not sure if pause this webinar, but otherwise I'm not sure you can. You can pause it, write it down, be inspired. Take the opportunity of this moment to write down what you are motivated about, what you really want to achieve, something you know is a burning desire within you. What be, have, or do in the next few months, the next few years. Because the time's coming, it's going to go by anyway, whether you do it or not. So you might as well define for you what your priorities are, what's important to you, what your vision is, and become attuned to it. Get clued into it and tapped into it. And that's what I help people do. I've been doing this for years, if not generations, because it's been in my blood. So motivation and commitment are what makes us strive towards achieving our goals. And that's what it's all about, achieving, having a progressive realization. And the experience of it gives us the push, the desire, the resolve to complete the other steps in the goal-getting process. So this motivation can be obtained by developing a personal statement that creates a high level of emotion and energy that guarantees the achievement of your dreams. Isn't that something? Here's a motivation story shared with me by a well-known motivation speaker. And he said, well, because it's such a personal story to him, he wanted me to share his name, but it's a true story. And I'll tell you a step beyond it. One self-help guru said that as a child, he was kicked out of his local country club pool because he was not a member. And there were other reasons involved as well. In response, he later made a goal that he would one day have a pool that is 1 foot bigger than that country club's pool. And I've seen it in that person's country club backyard. But it goes beyond that, because the motivation of being and doing better can come from any situation. It doesn't have to be revenge or just sort of say, well, I'm going to do anything like that. But you could be motivated by an experience to know that you can do better, that you can make up perhaps something in the past, but it's more like something you can evolve towards you a better person. So you're not the way they treated you or how they are. You look at a way that you can aspire and evolve in your consciousness. Because going one better can provide you the necessary fuel and the vision to achieve what's possible beyond the original idea or goal. As Jim Rohn said, if he didn't have problems, he didn't have living, there would be no inspiration to move forward. Some challenges are there because you're being challenged. An obstacle is there to teach you a lesson, to jump over the hurdle so you can get back on the road and get to the next level of your life. And if you weren't challenged, you wouldn't grow. So the other part of the story is the person later on, as he grew in wealth and stature, became president of the country club, his private club, and became its primary shareholder, you could say the owner. So he had a foot-long pool in his backyard, but he could also enjoy the exact membership and status he was denied as a youth in that club because now he was the president owner. It's an amazing story, right? And there's so many of them I could tell you about other speakers, but that's for my private clients and for another time. Commitment's key, right? Because we're talking about, at least in the period of looking for New Year's success, a 1-year plan, right? and going beyond that, because some goals are easily 5 to 10 years. I don't care if you're a senior citizen. You hope for yourself that you could do or be or become, more of what you want to be and enjoy your golden years by looking ahead. And that requires a commitment. So it creates more accountability, and it's what sets us apart from others who are just goal setters, because we're on a direct course to reach and get our goals. Now, it may create costly negative consequences upon failure to attain a goal. That's what we want to make it, so that you almost have what's called fail-proof. It's like, you can't just quit because you committed yourself. You got investors, you're told your closest friends, your spouse, you're going to do it. You want to keep your word because you told your spiritual guru or your commitment to your source element. It's true to your heart. You're just going to be it, follow through on your word. And that's a step forward for a lot of people, because it's being genuine and authentic in your way of being. And I teach something, I always have to use the word teach, but present an idea. Rather than a teacher, I'd rather call myself a reacher, not even a preacher. It's sort of like, I want to reach within and help bring out your best talents, what's true for you. The formula I talk about is UBE3. It's a different webinar and presentation, but UBE3 just simply stands for you being your ultra being, your ultra best. You being an excellent example of enlightenment. Whatever that means for you, that you are sort of the gateway, that through your demonstration, your way of being excellent, people can look at you as the example, because that's what it's all about. And making a commitment is like where everything is put into it. And commitment is specific to how you are ultimately being. You know what's required, and you stick to your standards, to your quote unquote, set self, that you're putting yourself into gear so that you can move forward and quickly achieve. Now, you want to be flexible, right? Because things can change, opportunities can evolve, and sometimes circumstances, whether they're economic or otherwise, can be affected, and things change. So you need to be flexible. Plus, you might find a better way to achieve it. So you want to be ready, right, to readjust goals, and certainly, if you're challenged, to not give up on them. Just find a better approach. Now, sometimes it may take a break, or the timing might not be right, so you file them away and you come back to them when you're more prepared and have the resources when opportunities open up. But you're preparing. So, of course, if they're too easy, it might not be worthwhile for you. And if they're too tough, you're like, oh my God, that's a big obstacle to start off with. So we want to look at small victories that lead to larger successes. And we look at the easiest part, which the first part is setting your goals and looking forward to the steps that help move us forward. Now, why do goals fail? Okay, number one, the goal is not written down. And if you talk to Brian Tracy, he'll tell you exactly the same thing. Listen to my interview with him. He expects you to have goals in your suit breast pocket. You can just pull out a folded piece of paper that has your goals. He had his goals. He did not ask me about mine, which was very kind and polite at the time, and put me on the spot. But it comes down to whoever they might be, whether it's not your wallet goals card, or your goal activator, being a club member, or your worksheets. Your goal has to be written down somewhere. Where's your goal? That's not my question asked, because the old goals, the goal process of getting goals doesn't work. It's like, well, okay, is your goal clear? Yeah, I know what I want. Well, where is it written down? It's got to be written down. Maybe even posted somewhere so you can visually see it. And do you have rewards for achieving the goals? Oftentimes we work with people and find out, the goals were kind of vague and they weren't even specific enough. They weren't realistic. Goals are not necessarily believable. And so there wasn't real commitment. They might have been inspired at one point, but they didn't really go for the goal. And they kept changing their mind or switching out the goals because they get inspired one day, it's one goal, having a lot of shiny objects, balls that they're juggling in the air. Look, I'm a victim of that as well. And a lot of ideas, so you have to prioritize them. You've got to stick with it. And I like to have themes, which we'll talk about on a future webinar. And you can watch me talk about that back in my 90s Success Club presentation. Themes are really important because you can have a theme for your life, a theme for the year, just a theme for the month, which January is obviously kicking off the new year, right? And of course, we have things like Black History Month. We've got different holidays and it could be birthdays or anniversaries that you can pivot off of. But having a month that has meaning, so 30 days, you've constructed or completed something that's related to your goal-getting plan for January. February can be the relationship theme, February. And some people are really into it. They do a weekly thing, right? There are 4 components of the month that this week fits into the bigger picture. So they know this week they got 7 days to achieve one particular component of that goal. And they're going to achieve this and that. That's going to help them go to the next level, the next stage. And some people have a daily thing. Monday means this, how you kick off the week. They get on a Motivation Monday webinar, uh, lunch webinar with me, or they have a meeting set up, which a lot of people do on the Fridays. So different strategies can be put into place. However, the person who has set a goal and who has not told or asked for any help or support or accountability, often it's a person who kind of has lost their own dimension. They may have a goal, but they may be afraid that they're not able to achieve it. There may be some issue that they need to work out. They need some support in that regard. And that is where we can help them out directly. By setting up a mastermind group that's specifically targeted within the project, or working with other gurus and coaches who can lend them the support that they need. So ultimately, the goal has to be incorporated into a realistic plan that includes measurements, the time aspects of it. There are certain milestones and markers that are reached, and they have access and able to utilize the resources that are available to them. Wow, we're doing good. So I want to thank you everyone for holding on. Still people are just coming onto the webinar. I'm seeing people quit. We're almost to the end here. Actually, we're very, very close. So I just want to thank everyone again for attending the webinar. Your free gift for the New Year's Success workbook, the Goal Activators, found at newyearsuccess.com. If you haven't already downloaded it, please go do so. And if you have downloaded it, please utilize it. And we can help you. It's basically, it's stage by step, but you just fill out the boxes and answer the questions, and you're there. We're always happy to offer a bit more support where we can. We do it a number of different ways. We have the webinars, we have coaching, we have support groups, and happy to help you as we can. All right, so the benefits of having goals, let's just be really clear on it. The goals are our driver in life. The measurements, the studies show people suffer less stress, angst, and anxiety. They feel like they have more purpose. They're able to concentrate better. They have more flow, focus, and feeling. The 3 Fs, right? Flow, focus, and feeling. They're able to demonstrate more self-confidence in their life and in the achievement of their goals because they're feeling good about it. They perform better because they've achieved certain outcomes, and they're moving forward in their structure of life. Because if you're able to, say, if your goal is to lose weight and you see the result that you've lost 3 pounds, but you're also more toned, fit, have more strength, well, that leads to other capacities. Maybe you start running. Not to say this is what you need to do or have to do, but maybe you get into a marathon. You start fundraising in that capacity. You're raising money through these activities. So these are really good things. So as you perform better and achieve greater outcomes, people are happier overall. Their standard of life tends to go up. You have an influence on other people that's very positive. And as you feel you have direction and purpose and clarity, depending on what you want to have in your life, and again, being attuned to your ideal, will make a difference and improves the world in that way, rather than being a meaningless, non-specific generality that's sort of inspired, by in the moment activities, simple pleasures that can be instantly satisfied, like eating junk food or watching TV. This is something more meaningful that gives meaning to your life and having purpose. And that's what it's about. And for some people, they have clarity to the degree that they have a mission statement, they've defined their purpose, how they're giving back. They really have idealized different goals and different dimensions of their life, rather than just sort of just saying, hey, it's another new year. I hope it's a good one. I got a few resolutions. It's really tacked on to having a purposeful, meaningful life and living that ideal and utilizing goal getting as a process to achieving the goals. So the question is this the end of the year or the new beginning of something that's going to help you achieve your goals, your ideal? And this is what I describe as the Ultra Beam formula. And I will be writing more about Ultra Beam. Perhaps it's going to be a book, the UBE3 formula, that you want to pass on to your kids. Ultra Beam, an excellent example of enlightenment. And I leave you with the question, what are your goals? What is it that you want to achieve, be, do, or have in your life? That's what it's all about, because that's what's meaningful for you, right? So you want to be able to live and love and to be everything that you can be, right? Okay, so I'm just going to type in a couple of things as I'm in responding to some of the comments. If I didn't get to yours, it could be because it's on the replay, but also way more things happening than I could sort of keep track of. Please email me. So what I want to offer you is the ability to transact with me personally. Uh, Email me, Mike at newyearsuccess.com, and you can go to newyearsuccess.com to also register that way by giving an email stuff that you can download. I'll put it in here, and let's see. So I think I'm just going to stop the slide, and let's see what happens if it goes to me. Oh, that's interesting. Well, I want to thank you again for attending the webinar. And let us see. All right, well, so I see some different questions coming in. I want to be considered on the time, but we do have a few more minutes. So our goals important. I think because we live, if you look at our society, we live in Western civilization, and we are about manifesting our destiny. Now, we can look at our history and say, well, there are good and bad things you can say about it. And I like to qualify goals as defining them if they're good for the whole. And we are coming on to a new year, and it's a tradition, every new year to do resolutions. Why not make it stick this year? So it goes beyond resolutions to actually having a plan for not only the next 12 months, but to devise a path so that you really progress towards your dreams. And goal getting is about achieving what's really important to you. So ideally, looking at your ideal is defining what is it you really want to have, what type of lifestyle. So people are very comfortable. And every year, particularly this new year, we're having a lot of changes happen in our society and around the world. It's a critical time. And we need to step up. I think each of us have that responsibility to give back to our community, to be the best civic-minded person, to be a contributor to our community as we can. And everyone does it in their own way, whether you're an artist or someone that is an activist, concerned, involved with certain causes. Maybe it's helping out with a charity or doing whatever that you can do to be the example to others, particularly if you have kids. So that's where, I come from. And, given my past history, right, 7 years living on the road, promoting motivation speakers, that facilitated that particular time in my life, going back to the 90s into the millennium and, the 2000s, where I started to have a family. And now I look forward to having a range of goals. And I see the question like, what are your goals, Mike Rich? Well, as I show up and manifest the in different dimensions for people, I do want to be able to make a new structure in helping people achieve their goals and have success in terms of what they want to experience and have. So it becomes meaningful and also a way that they can give back, that we're paying it forward. So every year you'll be able to go to newyearwebinar.com, newyearsuccess.com. There'll be some great content for you. And I really appreciate if you share it, because that's part of paying forward. You just turn other people onto it. And if it's not the new year, which is just a pivot point to really gives people the excuse to think about their goals and new resolutions any time of the year. Some people but it can be any time. Today is that day. One year from today is where this particular goal starts. That's what makes it kind of fun. So it gives purpose and meaning, and that's the contribution. What it's all about. We'll endeavor to launch a couple new businesses to support startups and different businesses. And one of the new businesses will be voted best awards with their social media and local engagement, whether it be through bloggers or media reviewers, or the newspaper or TV, different businesses in certain regards, and the way that they're also able to give back to the community, get votes or acknowledgement. It's just not being necessarily the best in the community, it's just being voted best that your consumers are a bit more enlightened in their voting choices, and that you're one of those local businesses that have something special to offer, you're able to get the recognition. And it's a great way to do PR, basically, because a lot of times, given the other side of my business where we do offer marketing and PR consulting, you have to have something that is newsworthy. So this tends to generate a lot of interest and gets people all excited. And I'll be launching a new podcast called Activist Interview, and encourage you to check that out at activistinterview.com. But enough about me. I mean, I can share some of my different goals, but I'd like to see some of your goals. So I see, see some health goals. Let me just go a little bit more. And a good, getting oneself set up financially, paying off debts. Yes, very good. Right. Yeah. Making a goal of doing goals. Very good. Yes. I say it's very important. Just write out all your goals. You'll find the goal activator perfect because it looks at 1 year, but it also looks at the ideal, so you can begin to move forward, but use the workbook of the goal activator found at newyearsuccess.com as it's really an integrated toolbox. It's in a PDF. I could look at putting something like that online. But basically, it's important that you write it out or whatever format you do it. There are apps out there nowadays to do goals. But to have that clarity of the greater purpose, and having that time that you give yourself, that you write down your goals, is so essential. And post it, because that's something you can look at for years and years that will be valuable to you. Some people who I am studying this, met, they had goals going back when they were teenagers and had, they were seniors now, senior citizens, but they still had that original sheet of paper. And they saw all those little goals crossed off. And some of them were like pretty significant goals from, literally like, flying into space and things like that. So, I mean, interesting, right? You don't believe me, go on my Facebook page and you can Google some of the people that I've met, and there are pictures of me with them. So I study this because the contribution I want to be able to make, at least in part to my kids and for future generations, is we made the most of our time here. And as we're able to give back, it's, to me, I have to be careful saying that bad word, but it's about how we're being, ultra being in the moment, how we're manifesting and showing up. And the way that we're present is the gift that we can give others, right? Having total utilization of the here and now, right? Being proactive and someone who's able to make the most of their time here and now. And the way we show up is the present, how we give ourselves to others, how are we being present to other people and serving them. If you help enough people, as Zig Ziglar used to say, if you help enough people achieve their goals, in turn, you'll achieve yours. Because these people are resources to you, not that you want to utilize, take advantage of situations where opportunity shows up and I can be present to you. Why wouldn't I be of service to you in the best way possible? I might have some opinion or bias, but I want not to work off of the rigmarole of the limitations of how I perceive things, to look at things in an idealized format, just to look at the possibilities. And if I look at the situation, examine whatever it is through my senses, whether I'm hearing something or listening off my thinking, my typically the thoughts, the words I'm using, the way I'm acting, what am I affirming? So the more aware that I can become, that I'm utilizing my ability to be present to you in the best way possible. And that's the gift. So if I can be a gateway to delight, shed light on something that helps open things up for you, without necessarily criticizing you or being negative in any way, just allowing for the moment to deliver its meaning, opens up an answer for you, or a gateway, a tool, a go-getting does, then I've offered just one possibility. And at least it gets you thinking about it. And as you move forward towards achieving your goals, that's the best that I think I can do or be or have and offer in the moment, to be support, to be there, here for you, and to do what I can to support you in those goals. So I hope I see other stuff here, but I sort of very respectful of other people's time. We'll do this again. And again, please, with your comments, suggestions, or ideas at newyearsuccess.com. I love that you're sharing different people's goals. Some of the goals are sort of scrolling down and seeing are very personal, so excuse me for his name, not saying what those particular goals are. But some are well-meaning and they're really great. The more that we can give back to our community, I think that's wonderful. We want to make sure that we're in good shape, physically, financially, spiritually, like mind, body, and spirit, how we're connected into our family and friends, our community, the clarity of where we're at. Looking at that ideal, what is it we really wish to have or do or be, brings us purpose. And being aligned, you can share this with a close alignment of friends. It could be part of a friendship. It could be community with some other people who share this vision, whether you create your own motivation club, or start a mastermind or join one, or just help others achieve their goals. What a wonderful thing. And I will be putting up a course on goal getting. So for those of you that would really appreciate, enjoy having a certificate, like, I'm a certified goal getting coach. Well, then I want to be able to offer that to you. Thank you for tuning in. And again, newyearwebinar.com, and hopefully you came into that gateway. But if not, please share the link, newyearsuccess.com. Goal Getting, that's right, Goal Getting with the G.org is the organization for us goal getters. So that's where I'll be putting the course information up. Thank you so much again for participating. Yeah, I see a couple of questions. If you want to be connected to a goal getting coach, I'm happy to do so. Please email me, Mike at his number of emails I have, but Mike at newyearsuccess.com, be the one right here, or as you go onto my different websites, I think there's resources and links there. But if you have questions, you want me to send you some more links, I'm happy to do so after the webinar. Thank you again, everybody. Happy New Year. All the best to you in achieving your goals for the new year. And may you achieve all your dreams. Go get them. All right. NewYearSuccess.com. Are we still on? I think we're stopping the broadcast. If you're still listening, I love you. And be sure to go to goalgetting.org or go to newyearsuccess.com, newyearwebinar.com, and we keep you attuned and connected into the community. Thank you so much.